Welcome back. In this demonstration we're going to teach you how to make the shadows on the edge of your tree trunks so that it looks like the one side is light or whiter and having the light shining on it, and the other side has the shadow. So to get started, you're going to need your watercolor supplies. You're going to need your palette, and inside your palette have at least two different little divots filled with water to make our two colors with. Okay, you should have your watercolor set, a paper towel to blot your brush, and then a clean cup and an empty cup of water so you can kind of control what your water looks like. And so for this one, you're going to need to make a neutral color, which means you're going to use two colors that are opposite on the color wheel. So like red and green are complementary, they're across from each other. Blue and orange are across from each other, and violet and yellow are across from each other. Whenever you take a complementary color combination and mix them together, you'll get what's called a neutral color. So if this is my blue and I add it to orange, you'll see I get this darkish color here. If this is my yellow and I spin my wheel around to violet, you'll see I get this neutral color. Alright, so I'm going to choose, since I already have the green, I'm going to use green and a little bit of red to get my neutral color. So I'm just going to dip in, I'm going to get a little bit of green and put it in there, and a little bit of green, put it in here. And I want one to be darker than the other. So one I'll have more paint and less water. Here's my red, and I want to be careful not to add too much. I want it to be dark, but not too dark. Okay, there's a nice grayish color. Now I'm going to do the next one and get it a little bit darker than that. Okay. And notice that I'm just going slow and changing my color ever so slightly as I go through. Now those two are about the same. So I'm going to get a little bit more green and add it in to make it this one darker, and then a little bit more red. Now you can use whatever complementary color combination you'd like. If you want to use blue and orange, that's fine. If you want to use red and green, that's fine. If you want to use violet and yellow, that's fine too. Just make sure that you've got one that's lighter and one that's a little bit darker. So there's my two colors, and if I just show you what they look like on paper, there's my first one, or sorry, the darker one, and here's the lighter one. Okay, so I think I'm going to add a little bit more red into my darker one. I want it to be just a little bit more to the red side. And so you might have to do this on a paper. You might just have to experiment. See, that's a little bit more neutral, less green. And I might just add a little bit more red, just because. There we go. That's right. That's the color I want. Okay, so I've got those two colors. Now, one is lighter than the other, which is what you want. And you're just going to take your lighter color, which in my case is this one, and I'm just going to carefully run that down about half of your tree trunk. Okay, so you can kind of see how that's looking. Running it down that half of my tree trunk, so that you've got half of the tree being a grayish neutral color. Alright, then I would say do all of your trees that same color. Okay, then you would go back with your second color, the darker one, and put that right on the edge. And if your paint is still wet, it will make that edge a little bit darker, and the colors will run together on the inside of the tree, making it pool in different places, so that wet on wet watercolor will kind of give the illusion of the bark being either bulged out or bulged in. So that's how I would do that part of, one tree. Now I'm going to go back and finish the rest of my trees, being very careful next to the edge so that I don't go into the sky or into the grass. And if you want to or need to, you can switch to a smaller brush if that's going to help. And I'll demonstrate doing it with a smaller brush as well. Okay, and that finishes the demonstration of how to do the shadows on your trees. Make sure when you're done, you clean up your palette and put it away nicely.